what y'all doing. Find something else to do. You fine.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. Steve knew I was having an affair with Marjorie. Okay.
Steve, you saying Steve Harvey knew?
Yes, he knew. He wanted me to have an affair with Marjorie.
What?
Have you ever noticed how one rumor can completely take over the internet in a matter of hours? One headline becomes 1,000 posts. One comment turns into a trending topic. And before anyone has a chance to verify what actually happened, millions of people have already formed an opinion. That is exactly what happened when the latest wave of speculation surrounding Steve and Marjorie Harvey exploded across social media platforms and captured the attention of audiences around the world. For years, Steve Harvey has been viewed as one of the most recognizable and respected personalities in the entertainment industry. Whether people know him from television hosting, stand-up comedy, motivational speaking, or his role as a devoted family man, his public image has always been carefully built around the pillars of confidence, wisdom, and stability. He has spent decades crafting a brand that feels authentic, relatable, and inspiring to millions of fans across generations. Alongside him, Marjorie Harvey has consistently been presented as an essential and deeply important part of that story. Their relationship has been showcased to the world as one of the strongest and most admirable marriages in all of celebrity entertainment, inspiring countless fans who look to their journey together as a model of what love and partnership can look like when two people truly commit to one another. But as many people have learned over the years, being in the spotlight comes with a very significant price. The more visible a celebrity becomes, the more intense the attention their personal life inevitably attracts. Every photograph gets analyzed. Every social media post gets dissected word by word. Every public appearance becomes an opportunity for speculation, commentary, and debate. And when a rumor begins to spread through the vast network of social media platforms, it can quickly grow into something far larger and far more damaging than anyone ever expected or intended. Recently, social media became completely flooded with claims, theories, and allegations regarding Steve and Marjorie Harvey's marriage. Various stories began circulating online, each one seemingly more dramatic and more alarming than the last. Some posts claimed that serious and troubling issues had developed behind closed doors. Others suggested that major and life-altering changes were taking place within the family structure itself. Soon, countless videos, blogs, opinion pieces, and discussion threads were repeating the same allegations, adding new layers of speculation with every share and every comment. The internet did what it so often does best. It amplified uncertainty and transformed whispers into headlines. What started as scattered and verified rumors soon transformed into a full-scale online conversation that was nearly impossible to escape. People who had absolutely no direct knowledge of the situation began debating it with the confidence and conviction of eyewitnesses. Comment sections filled rapidly with strong opinions. Reaction channels jumped in with their own takes and analysis. Content creators rushed to cover every perceived new development, every new piece of so-called evidence, every new angle that might generate views and engagement. The situation became so widespread and so persistent that many thoughtful observers began asking the same fundamental question: where did these rumors even come from in the first place? That question matters enormously because the origin of a story often determines its credibility and its staying power. In today's digital world, information travels faster than at any other point in human history. Unfortunately, that speed applies equally to accurate information and to misinformation. A single post can be shared thousands of times before a single person stops to check whether it contains any truth whatsoever. By the time corrections or clarifications appear, the original claim may have already reached millions of people and settled comfortably into the public consciousness. For public figures, this reality creates an extraordinarily difficult challenge. Should they respond immediately and risk drawing even more attention to the story? Should they ignore the rumors entirely and hope they fade on their own? Or should they wait patiently and carefully craft a response that addresses the situation without making things worse? There is no perfect answer to that dilemma. And no approach guarantees a favorable outcome. If celebrities remain silent, people frequently interpret that silence as confirmation that something must be wrong. If they choose to respond directly, some critics will argue that the very act of responding proves that there is something significant to hide. Either way, they face relentless and unforgiving scrutiny from every direction. This is precisely the environment that Steve and Marjorie Harvey found themselves navigating as the rumors surrounding their marriage continued to gain momentum and reach new audiences. As the speculation intensified, fans searched for clues in every available space. Social media activity became a subject of serious investigation. Public appearances were analyzed frame by frame, second by second. Every detail, no matter how small or how ordinary it might seem under normal circumstances, suddenly became deeply significant in the eyes of countless internet detectives who were convinced they were uncovering something meaningful. A missing ring, a changed caption, a subtle shift in body language. Everything was evidence. Everything pointed somewhere. This phenomenon is by no means unique to the Harvey family. Celebrity culture over the past several decades has created a remarkable and sometimes troubling environment where audiences feel profoundly and personally connected to public figures they have never actually met. Fans follow their favorite stars for years, sometimes for their entire lives, learning about their careers, their relationships, their struggles, and their personal milestones through carefully curated interviews and social media posts. Over time, that accumulated familiarity creates a powerful sense of emotional investment. People do not simply watch celebrities from a distance. They feel, on some genuine and deeply human level, like they know them personally. As a result, when rumors emerge about someone they have followed for years, audiences become emotionally involved in ways that can be surprisingly intense. They want answers, they want explanations, they want clarity and resolution. But sometimes clarity is the most difficult thing of all to find. As conversations continue to spread online, reports emerged suggesting that individuals who were actually close to the Harvey family had disputed many of the allegations being shared so freely across the internet. Statements began circulating suggesting that many of the specific claims being repeated in viral posts were simply inaccurate and lacked any factual foundation. Supporters argued passionately that social media had taken pure speculation and transformed it into supposed fact without anything resembling sufficient evidence or responsible journalism. That response, rather than calming the situation, created yet another wave of discussion and debate. Suddenly, the central question shifted. Instead of asking whether the rumors themselves were true, many people began debating whether the rumors should have ever been taken seriously at all. The controversy had evolved. As controversies so often do in the digital age, the situation highlighted a much larger and more urgent issue that affects not only celebrities and public figures, but every single person who participates in social media culture. How do we determine what is real? Every single day, people encounter thousands of competing headlines, all fighting for a limited share of attention. The most dramatic and emotionally charged stories consistently spread the fastest because they trigger powerful reactions in readers. Shock generates clicks, controversy generates engagement, outrage generates shares, fear generates conversations. The result is a deeply flawed information ecosystem where sensational claims frequently outperform careful, measured, and responsible reporting, not because they are more accurate, but simply because they are more emotionally stimulating. This does not mean that every viral story is false. Some viral stories are entirely true, but it absolutely does mean that popularity should never be mistaken for proof, and that the speed with which a claim spreads tells us nothing reliable about whether that claim deserves to be believed. For Steve Harvey specifically, this latest situation represented yet another chapter in a long and complicated relationship with public scrutiny. Throughout the full arc of his career, he has faced public criticism, intense media examination, and numerous internet controversies that threatened at various points to overshadow his considerable professional accomplishments, yet time and again, he has demonstrated a remarkable ability to address difficult and uncomfortable situations while maintaining his focus on his work and his family. Many of his most devoted supporters pointed to that long history as compelling evidence that he understood better than most how to handle the unique and relentless pressures of public life. Others remained more skeptical, arguing thoughtfully that celebrity images are often far more complicated and far more carefully constructed than they appear from the outside, and that admirable public behavior does not necessarily tell us anything definitive about what happens behind closed doors. And that is precisely where the conversation became especially fascinating and revealing, because beyond the specific rumors themselves, what people were really debating was something much larger and much more philosophically interesting. They were debating perception itself. The public version of a celebrity and the private reality of that same celebrity are not always the same thing, and they are not always even close to the same thing. Fans see interviews, professionally taken photographs, and carefully selected and curated moments that are designed to present a particular image. But those glimpses, however numerous and however detailed they may seem, represent only a tiny fraction of an actual human life. The inevitable gap between public perception and private reality creates enormous space for speculation, projection, and imagination. Sometimes that speculation turns out to be accurate, often it does not. The challenge that faces audiences is that they rarely know which is which until reliable, verified, and trustworthy information finally becomes available. Sometimes long after opinions have already hardened and judgments have already been made. As the controversy continued to unfold and develop in real time, Steve Harvey eventually addressed the situation publicly, and his response drew an enormous and immediate wave of attention from all directions. Supporters praised his willingness to speak directly and openly rather than retreating into silence. Critics analyzed every single word with forensic intensity, looking for inconsistencies or admissions. News outlets picked up the response and reported on it extensively. Social media users debated its meaning, its tone, its sincerity, and its implications for everything that had come before. Once again, the story evolved and transformed. What had begun as an unverified rumor was now a conversation about the response to that rumor, about what the response revealed, and about what it might be concealing. This cycle is extraordinarily common in modern celebrity culture, and it follows a pattern that is by now deeply familiar to anyone who pays attention to how these stories develop. First comes speculation, appearing seemingly from nowhere and spreading with startling speed. Then comes reaction, from the subjects of the speculation and from everyone around them. Then comes detailed analysis of the reaction, as commentators and observers pick apart every nuance and every word choice. And finally, the broader discussion often grows so large that it completely overshadows the original story that started everything. In many ways, that is exactly what happened here. And the pattern repeated itself with almost mechanical precision. Months after the initial rumors first appeared and began spreading across platforms, people were still talking about them actively and with genuine engagement. Not necessarily because compelling new evidence had emerged to change anyone's understanding of the situation, but because the controversy had become woven into a much broader cultural conversation about trust, fame, marriage, relationships, loyalty, and the nature of public image in an age when privacy has become almost impossibly difficult to maintain. For some observers, the entire situation served as a sobering reminder that even the most admired and seemingly untouchable public figures remain vulnerable to scrutiny, speculation, and the unpredictable judgment of strangers. For others, it served as a stark and timely illustration of the genuine dangers of accepting every viral claim at face value and treating rumor as fact simply because it has been repeated often enough and loudly enough. And for many ordinary fans who had followed Steve and Marjorie Harvey for years, it reinforced a lesson that the internet teaches over and over again without ever quite making it stick. The internet rewards speed above almost everything else. But truth almost always requires patience, and patience is the one thing that viral culture is structurally incapable of providing. As audiences, we naturally and understandably want immediate answers when stories like this emerge. We want certainty. We want clean, simple, satisfying explanations that resolve our uncertainty and allow us to form confident conclusions. But real life rarely works that way, and celebrity life is no exception. Relationships are complicated in ways that outsiders can never fully understand. Families are complicated in ways that even the people within them sometimes struggle to articulate. Public narratives are complicated precisely because they are always incomplete, always filtered, and always shaped by the interests and perspectives of the people constructing them. When millions of strangers attempt to interpret deeply personal situations involving people they have never actually met and never will meet, misunderstandings and misjudgments become not just possible but practically inevitable. That is why moments like these continue to generate such extraordinary and sustained public interest. They combine celebrity, mystery, genuine human emotion, and profound uncertainty into a story that feels simultaneously irresistible and impossible to fully resolve. Yet perhaps the most genuinely fascinating aspect of this entire controversy is not the original rumor itself. It is the reaction to the rumor. It is the remarkable speed with which firm opinions formed in the absence of reliable information. It is the striking confidence with which unverified assumptions were presented and shared as though they were established facts. It is the willingness, even the eagerness, of so many people to choose sides and declare verdicts long before anything approaching a complete picture had emerged. Those reactions reveal at least as much about the current state of internet culture and about human psychology in the age of social media, as they reveal about the celebrities at the center of the story, as this entire episode so clearly demonstrates. Fame can open doors to extraordinary opportunities and experiences that most people will never access. But it also comes packaged with extraordinary and inescapable challenges that most people would find genuinely difficult to endure. Public figures live under a form of constant and blinking observation that has no real historical precedent. Their successes are celebrated loudly and publicly, often beyond what the achievements themselves might warrant. Their mistakes are criticized publicly with a harshness and a permanence that can feel crushing. And sometimes, even completely unverified rumors become global discussions that take on a life entirely independent of whatever truth may or may not lie at their core. Whether the latest controversy ultimately changes public opinion about Steve and Marjorie Harvey in any lasting or meaningful way remains genuinely uncertain and entirely to be seen. What is abundantly clear, however, is that the conversation surrounding them has become a powerful and instructive example of how information, accurate or otherwise, spreads and evolves in the modern digital age. A single rumor can travel across the entire world in a matter of minutes. A response can become a headline can become a debate can become a cultural phenomenon that outlasts the original story by months or even years. For now, loyal supporters continue standing firmly behind the Harvey family while persistent critics continue raising questions and demanding answers. Social media remains as divided as ever. Discussions continue to evolve and branch in unexpected directions. Opinions continue to shift. But regardless of where any individual stands on the specific details of this particular controversy, one truth has made itself undeniably clear through all of it. This story has once again demonstrated the extraordinary and sometimes frightening power of public perception in the modern world, because in today's digital landscape, the fundamental battle is not always simply between truth and outright fiction. Sometimes, more subtly and more dangerously, it is between reality and the version of reality that the internet collectively decides it wants to believe. And that distinction perhaps more than any specific detail about any specific celebrity, may be the most important and most enduring lesson that stories like this one have to offer. As long as fame exists in its current form, rumors will exist alongside it. As long as social media platforms continue to reward engagement over accuracy and speed over verification, speculation will exist as a permanent feature of public life. And as long as audiences remain as deeply and emotionally fascinated by the lives of celebrities as they have always been, stories like this one will continue capturing public attention and generating passionate debate in ways that feel both entirely predictable and somehow always surprising. The real question, the one that matters most and the one that this entire episode ultimately leads us toward, is not whether another controversy will emerge. Another controversy will always emerge. The real question is whether people will be willing to pause long enough and to think carefully enough to separate genuine evidence from comfortable assumption when it does.